The battlefield was chaos, plague, mutiny, barbarians pressing the Danube. Yet in a leather tent at night, Marcus Aurelius pulled out his stylus and wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't offering posterity a slogan. He was reminding himself that pressure does not erase clarity, it forges it. Today we treat clarity like a spa amenity, something we expect only after notifications are silenced and the calendar is clear. Marcus discovered the opposite. Clarity is a combat art practiced precisely when life refuses to cooperate. Over the next minutes, you will not receive vague self-help. You will inherit a field manual of 8 habits, each traced to an exact passage in the Emperor's private notes, each tested by 2 millennia of stunned readers who discovered that a Roman war diary can calm a modern mind better than any mindfulness app. Marcus Annius Verus was born in Rome in 121 CE, adopted by Emperor Antoninus Pius, elevated to co-emperor in 161, and left alone at the helm when Lucius Verus died in 169. While Germanic tribes flooded the frontiers, he also faced a smallpox wave that killed perhaps 7 million across the empire. Between troop movements, he wrote, in Greek, sentences he never intended anyone else to read. That privacy is why the book feels alive. No political varnish, no audience to impress, only a man talking himself off the emotional ledge again and again. If you have ever whispered, "Get a grip," to yourself in traffic, you already stand in his tradition. Stoicism, the school that trained him, treats the mind as a courtroom. First comes the impression, the email flagged urgent, the sarcastic tone, the stock price that dives before lunch. That raw appearance is not yet a verdict, it is evidence. Second comes assent, the silent moment when you ratify the story, my boss disrespects me, the market is ruined, my day is shot. Third, the ruling faculty, hegemonikon in Greek, either signs the story into law or tosses it out for contradicting reality. Marcus summarizes the entire process in one sentence. External things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them, which you can erase right now. Cognitive therapists reached the same conclusion 20 centuries later. Aaron Beck's first worksheets asked patients to list automatic thoughts and then evidence for and against. The vocabulary changed, the architecture did not. Pause here and try it. The next time the phone rings with bad news, silently label what arrives, impression of setback. Do not yet say catastrophe, betrayal, or failure. Simply notice the raw footage. Marcus calls this objective judgment now, at this very moment. The micro-delay prevents the amygdala from hijacking the prefrontal cortex. It is the mental equivalent of counting to 10 before touching a hot pan. If new data later proves your first take wrong, change gladly, he insists. If someone can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. The goal is accuracy, not ego protection. Once the impression is named, run the control check. Epictetus drew the perimeter in one sentence. Some things are up to us and some are not. Marcus copies the line into his own notebook. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice the nuance. He does not tell soldiers to lay down their shields because outcomes are uncertain. He tells them to aim their effort at the only lever that never breaks: choice. Refuse to outsource your peace to traffic controllers, market makers, or the weather. Even apparent injury gets veto power only if you sign for it. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. The statement sounds like magic until you test it. A stranger on social media calls you a fraud. The insult is stamped and addressed to you, yet it cannot enter your psyche without your signature. Deny the delivery and the package returns to sender. Clarity gains speed when you travel light. Marcus repeatedly asks, is this necessary? Before every commitment of word or deed. The question acts like a strainer under a faucet. Most requests, arguments, and purchases never make it through. He pairs the filter with a negative rule. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Imagine starting each morning with those 2 lines taped to the monitor. Entire email threads dissolve, gossip starves, impulse purchases retreat. The habit is ruthless, but the result is bandwidth. A mind that refuses to carry the non-essential has room to notice what matters. Perspective widens further with the view from above. A guided zoom-out Marcus practices before bed. He pictures the Roman Empire as a single landmass at night, then the Mediterranean, then the spinning globe itself. From that height, the palace intrigue, the postponed banquet, the broken carriage all shrink to proper size. Neuroscience later confirmed the trick. Adopting a self-distanced vantage reduces emotional noise and increases wise reasoning. You need not board the International Space Station. 3 slow breaths while imagining tomorrow's headache from 30,000 feet is enough to ask, will this still matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, downsize its claim on your nervous system. Expect friction next. Marcus rehearses each dawn. Today I shall meet meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly people. The list sounds pessimistic until you notice its effect. When the forecast predicts rain, you carry an umbrella, but you do not rage at the clouds. Premeditatio malorum, the technical label, is not fatalism, it is immunization. By the time the rude cashier appears, you are vaccinated against shock, free to respond rather than react. The same forecast applies to projects. If you launch expecting bugs, delays, and last-minute changes, each fits the script instead of ruining the day. Evening brings the audit. Seneca advised inspecting the day after lights out. Marcus practices on parchment in real time. He asks what he did, why he did it, and whether it aligned with the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. The questions are short, the answers brutally honest. Missed a chance to listen? Note it. Spoke harshly? Record it. The notebook never forgives, yet it never condemns. Its function is calibration, not shame. A 5-minute review reroutes tomorrow's trajectory by a fraction of a degree, and fractions compounded daily steer a life. Social clarity arrives when you refuse to equate disagreement with enmity. Marcus reminds himself that people who obstruct him are moved by ignorance, not by a cosmic plot to ruin his reign. Therefore, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Replace the word revenge with frustration, and the principle still holds. Assume the driver who cut you off is late to a hospital, the colleague who hijacked the meeting is insecure about job security. You cannot verify the story, but you can choose the interpretation that keeps your reason intact. Compassion here is not charity, it is cognitive hygiene. Finally, keep death in your pocket, not as morbid obsession but as a timer. You could leave life right now, Marcus writes above his signature on Book 2. The sentence sounds dramatic until you use it as a filter. Ask, if the next hour were my last, would I still quarrel over this sentence, scroll this feed, binge this show? The question vaporizes pettiness and spotlights the few actions that survive mortality's audit. Paradoxically, remembering you can die teaches you how to live. These habits are not museum pieces. They are tools, and tools demand use. In the second half, we will stitch them into a simple decision protocol, run them through everyday scenarios, and answer the common objections that block people from testing them. For now, pick one habit. Try it before the next meeting, the next commute, the next notification. Marcus promises nothing mystical, only that the obstacle properly handled becomes the way. When the stakes are high, speed matters less than sequence. Marcus never wrote a flowchart, but he followed one: control check, clarity check, virtue check. First, mark the border of your command. What is mine? What is fate's? Second, separate raw event from added narrative. Third, ask which virtue applies: wisdom to see, justice to give each their due, courage to act, temperance to stay measured. If a proposed move passes all 3 gates, execute. If any gate jams, pause or desist. The algorithm fits on a sticky note, yet scales from inbox overflow to career change. Memorize the order and you no longer need motivational quotes. The questions themselves pull you upright. Picture an ordinary Wednesday. A comment appears under your post: "This is the dumbest take I've read all year." The pulse jumps. Run the protocol. Control check, their keyboard is outside your perimeter, your reply is inside. Clarity check, the words are data, pixels arranged in insult shape. The label dumb is their adjective, not a court verdict. Virtue check, wisdom asks whether engagement educates anyone. Justice asks whether silence lets misinformation spread. Courage is willing to be misunderstood. Temperance warns against flame wars. You decide a single factual correction serves justice, write it once without sarcasm, and leave. Total time 90 seconds. Without the checklist, the same episode can cost you an afternoon of rumination and a sleepless night. Now scale the same steps to a layoff announcement. Revenue dipped, budget snapped, your project is vapor. Control check, the layoff is done, the resume update, networking call, and retraining pick are yours. Clarity check, the event is job ends, not life ends. The story I'm worthless is an add-on. Virtue check, wisdom sees market cycles. Justice means honoring the teamwork still owed during the transition. Courage demands updating skills rather than numbing with binge strolling. Temperance limits the whiskey pour. Action emerges. You schedule 3 informational interviews before the weekends, enroll in a data course, and walk the dog instead of the bottle. The obstacle, lost position, advances new competencies. Skeptics object, easy for an emperor with bodyguards and treasuries. Read the history. The Marcomannic Wars dragged for 14 years. Plague carts rolled through Rome. His wife Faustina faced infidelity rumors, and all 9 of their children died except 1. Marcus wrote many entries while sick, cold, and listening to border wolves. The notes are not ivory tower speculation, they are battlefield triage. Stoicism does not deny pain, it prevents unnecessary suffering manufactured by distorted thought. Physical agony stays real. The second arrow of why me rage is optional. Another critique claims the system justifies injustice. If everything is perception, oppression can be gaslit away. Marcus answers with the virtue of justice itself. Clear perception is step 1, right action is step 2. He commands himself to love mankind and to bend to justice. When a provincial governor extorted grain from Egyptians, Marcus replaced him. Clear thinking revealed the facts, justice demanded correction. Inner discipline and outer reform are sequential, not competitive. Limits exist. Severe depression, trauma, or poverty can overwhelm working memory, making reflection feel impossible. In such cases, stoic drills become supplements, not substitutes for therapy, medicine, or material aid. The practices reduce cognitive load created by catastrophizing, freeing bandwidth to seek concrete solutions. They do not magic away structural barriers, they help you face barriers without self-sabotage. If a line struck you, open the source. Read Book 5, Section 20, and notice how the sentence that launched 1,000 mugs was once a man whispering to himself in the dark. Read Book 2, Section 11, and feel the chill that still lingers in the Latin manuscript. You could leave life right now. The power is not in the parchment. It is in repeating the exercise until it becomes muscle memory. Quotes age, habits compound. Begin tonight. Before sleep, take a blank page. Draw 3 columns, control, clarity, virtue. Pick one moment that annoyed you today. Write the raw fact in the clarity column, your added story underneath, then cross out every clause unsupported by evidence. Move to the control column, list what was yours, what was theirs, what was whether. Finally, in the virtue column, write one sentence describing the action a wise, just, courageous, temperate version of you would choose next time. Close the notebook. The review takes 4 minutes and often sleeps better than melatonin. Tomorrow morning, recite Marcus's sunrise forecast. I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. Expect the computer update to stall, the toddler to dawdle, the client to nitpick. When the forecast proves true, you will not collapse into why is everything broken. You will nod at the accuracy and handle the item, grateful for the heads up. Expectation converts surprise into background noise, freeing attention for creative response. Clear thinking, for Marcus Aurelius, is therefore not a mood but a method, disciplined assent to what is accurate, disciplined refusal to what is not, disciplined action toward the common good, repeated until death interrupts the rehearsal. The reward is not a permanent high, it is a usable mind in every season. Plague, recession, algorithmic outrage, each becomes training material for the next rep. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.